Hey gang, this is Andy over at the Falco K9 Academy Studios in Brea, California. Glad to be with you. Today's a lot calmer than it was yesterday. Those of you that have been following the drama of the webinar and all the failures behind it, I've had some successes today, so I'm really happy. People have been getting the URL to watch the recorded webinar. Currently, it looks like, for whatever reason now, the webinar is playing every hour on the hour. So if you haven't had a chance to find the URL, if you've not had a chance to, oh, you know what? That's why I just realized why it's cutting off. Now, this one's my fault because the webinar goes a little bit longer than an hour. So obviously it's only going to play for an hour because it plays every hour. Maybe I can change that. I'll see if I can change that. But at least you're going to get some of the really, really good information. So in the end, what's going to end up happening is I'm going to talk about what I've put on the title of this thing in just a minute, but just to let you know, and you're going to be pretty tired of hearing about this webinar but it has to be put out there, because what we are going to be giving these first members, what I'm calling the founding members, those people that sign up and join today, not only do they get it for way lower in the price, and I'm realizing that I didn't charge enough, but before I raise the price, I already committed to the people that have decided they want to be a founding member. So once they decide to get into the system and be there for when we start, which is right away, training our new trainers as certified HDT system. I'm not going to tell you what HDT stands for yet, because I want to make sure and get through all the founding members. We're going to be playing that webinar again, and I think I figured out how to at least play the recorded version, and it'll go off without a hitch. There was a little bit of understanding that needed to be done between me and Kajabi and the Kajabi folks, and we figured it out. As far as the recorded, still working with YouTube and Hangouts, probably that's down the road. But you're going to be able to see the same recorded webinar. And if you just simply want me to send you the link and you have already signed up, let me know in a private message or text me or whatever, however you know how to communicate with me, and I will send it to you and you'll be able to see it. It's on Vimeo right now, but you won't be able to find it unless I give it to you because it's hidden. All right. So, and it's, again, I'm blown away. Aldo and I had another conversation today where I've almost not been able to get anything else done, because here's the thing. What I want to talk about is about the limitations that you have with your dog, whatever those are. Some people's limitations is they simply can't have people over to their house, right? That's a limitation. Some people have a limitation that they can't take their dogs for a walk. Some people have a limitation that they can't trim their dog's toenails, right? So these limitations are just based on the knowledge you have about your dog and how to figure out how to take the stress that causes your dog to act out like it does, right? Almost everything. And this is one that Aldo and I had a discussion about, and he really pointed out very vividly about how things are related to stress in the dog, and understanding how to reduce that stress, how to get to a place of understanding with your dog when he's in stress, if that's even possible. Sometimes it's not. The dog is so stressed that he's not even communicable with you, and you're not able to communicate with him. That is the limitation. The limitation is that sometimes you don't have the knowledge. Sometimes the trainer that you go to does not have the knowledge and tries to do things to even complicate that communication even more. And so this is where the HDT system is going to take every trainer. I don't care who you are, how long you've been around. It's going to take even the most seasoned trainer to a place that maybe they've never been before. I know that is a very strong statement, especially those of you that are dog trainers that believe that you are at the top of your game, right? There's many of you that believe you're at the top of your game, and you're not willing to let any more information in, or you're not willing to listen, or you're going to listen without hopefully people knowing that you're listening, right? I know all of you out there. I know all of you dog trainers. I've spent time with you. I've roomed with some of you. I have been in seminars with many of you. I've been on stage teaching to some of you. I've just been in the same circles as you. And I know all the different personalities and all the things that cause trainers to have this guardedness about them, that they purposely block out some information because they just simply don't want to know that they don't know, or they just simply don't want to believe that somebody else may know more than they do, or have just picked up on something that you never picked up on, right? And I think that's a big problem. It's a big problem, not only, I'm sure, in the dog industry, but there's all kinds of other industries where people just really are so close-minded to information and new information because of their, what? Starts with a P, their pride. Pride gets in the way. And so it is, hey, Amy, it is huge. There's many of you that are really, really open, right, to listening to new stuff, but you're so stuck in your ways, right? You're so stuck in the sense that, I'm only going to train a dog with food and a clicker. That's all I'm going to do. I'm not going to listen to anything else because if it's not that, it's horrible. It's inhumane. It's mean, blah, 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 all this kind of stuff. Or you have the people that I'm only using a pinch collar because I've seen it do miraculous things and it always seems to work. Yes, it does work sometimes, but it's only working because the dog is in stress and you've caused more stress, which then causes the dog a completely different whole set of problems, which even actually makes the main problem even worse. So what we are hoping here with the system, the HDT system that Aldo and I are, he's working really hard on. I'm working hard on the technological part, which it seems like maybe we should reverse the roles, right? Because based on what's happened the last couple of days, maybe that is not my thing. That's what you feel like, right? You feel like giving up. You feel like going, good, I'm never doing this again. I've seen, for whatever reason, I don't know, those of you that go to church or those of you that buy, or when you buy a new car, this is probably the best one because when you talk about church, people get all weirded out. But when you buy a new car, suddenly that's all you see is that car out there, right? And so when I've gone through these trials that I've been going through for really the last week on the technological part of what I'm trying to do, all I'm seeing is perseverance signals and signs and Facebook postings, right? Persevere through the things that challenge you. You're only as strong as you are when you try to overcome something that's really, really challenging to you. And that's what I've gone through. So, I'm going to get through all of this because I think what we have to tell you is super, super important. It's not only going to change the way that you do business, but it's going to change the lives of some of the people that you're doing business with as a dog trainer, some of your customers, some of your clients, and some of your dogs. That if we were just a package, if Aldo and I were just to have filmed the discussion that he had, I was mostly listening. The discussion that we had in the kitchen today, he was in the living room, I was in the kitchen, and I was listening. And he thought, are you even listening? I was so listening because every time he said something, there was something about what he said that reminded me of something that happened that I couldn't explain. How many of you dog trainers have had that? Or how many of you that live with your dog do something with your dog and you can't explain why it happened, why it worked, why your dog decided to do A instead of B, and you go, gosh, I wish I knew why that worked, or I wish I could explain it to others, because much of what we do has to do with feelings and energy, right? Amy Feltz, I'm not sure what your history is in dog training or not, if you're a dog trainer or not, but I'm sure that there's some things that you see in your dog or somebody else's dog that you go, he's ready for this, right? He's ready for a pet on the head, or he's ready to be let out the door, to come in through the door, or whatever that is. But it's based on just simply a feeling that you have, just knowing the circumstances, knowing your dog, that kind of thing. There's so many of those things that happen with me as far as dog training. Like when I have dog X, right? Dog X comes to me and I see the human and the dog. I'm measuring the human, their personality, their idiosyncrasies, their mood, right? And I'm looking at the dog and measuring the dog's, chemistry, and things are coming off of him, looking at his tail, looking at his ears, looking at his eyes, looking at his stance, looking at his breathing, looking at all those things and seeing that relationship. And then suddenly I come up with a plan, right? I don't know how in the past I've been able to do that. I don't know why, if I decide to do, system 1, 3, and 5, with this team, that for them it works. I can't really describe that. For years, I've never really been able to describe it. But today in the kitchen, I had plenty of those moments with what Aldo was saying and coming up with and telling me and going, aha. Now I know why that worked back in 2002 with Fluffy and Mrs. Smith and her dog. It's because of that. It's because of what you just said. And never until this morning was I able to put words to it and describe it. And that is just how it's been on that side of things. And I cannot wait until those of you, especially those of you that have decided to jump in early, because we're going to spend a lot of time with you in the beginning before we open it back up to the general public, that's what I'm excited about. I'm excited about that information, which I would be more than happy just to give. But I think that it's really best to give to people that really want it. really best to give to people that really have a desire to learn and the desire to go forward in their learning on how to deal with humans and their dogs. So now to get to the point of the message that I have here today is that relationship is limited. The relationship between you and your dog and what you can do with your dog is just simply limited by your knowledge and sometimes your desire, sometimes your pride. And I want to get you out of that your dog can do amazing things. I want you to know that. I want you to know that if you're struggling right now, especially if you're in our basic class with Gina and Derek and Aldo, that whatever that challenge is, some people just think that's just, I just got to live with that thing and learn how to work around it. There may be some dogs that is true, but I would tell you that it's probably not. Sometimes the reason people have to live with something is because of the human's limitations. The humans' limitations in the confidence that their dog can actually do what it is they want, can actually go for a walk, can actually go with them to. I always like to use Schlotzsky's Delis because I like the way that it sounds. But that limitation of being able to go to Schlotzsky's Deli with your dog on leash and sit there and have a sandwich and enjoy yourself without spilling the drink that you're drinking is based on your limitation. Right? Is based on maybe your knowledge, maybe sometimes based on your pride. But you can have that with your dog. All right. The goal always at Falco Canine Academy is that your dog does not get stuck in the backyard or in the house. And that's how he lives his life every day, that he gets out and explore. Another great conversation that I had with Aldo today was that fact of getting the dog out is something that needs to be done, or else you're going to cause your dog undue stress. The stress of living in the same closed environment for an entire lifetime is stressful, because the dog has explored everything in the backyard, has explored everything inside the house, has explored all your smells and everything you have. And they can do that in just a very short period of time. So what do they do for the rest of the 8 years that they're on this planet, or 10 years or 15 years, right? If they don't get out, it's stressful. You can ask anybody who's been held captive. How fun has that been to be held captive without a change of environment, without a change of people that you can have conversation with and shake hands with and tell jokes with and be with, even if they piss you off, right? That is mental stimulation that is really, really, truly needed, as with a dog when it's on a walk and sees another dog that it doesn't like, that, I don't like you, is positive for that dog if he never really gets out, right? It's just something that he's doing besides smelling the same ground that he smelled over and over and over again. So what we hope to do, and what I would like you to begin to get the feeling, if you're not interested in being a trainer, that if you're interested in being with us as a student, as a client, is understand that what we want from you is a commitment that you're going to take your dog out of the backyard, that you're going to take your dog out of the house, and you're going to do things with him when you can. Right? Don't do it right now when it's still dangerous that you might hurt somebody. But the goal is we want to get you there, and we want you to be strong enough to understand that if whatever reason you feel like you're not getting what you need in one of our classes, that you have to ask. Quite often what happens is people, will go away thinking, well, I'm only just going to listen to the information. I'm not going to participate. If you don't participate and ask us the questions and ask us the things that are happening to you when we don't see you, because quite often we can see a different human-dog relationship in the group obedience class than what you actually have at home. All right. So we want to open up those lines of communication. We want to hear what you have to say, and we want to help you have that relationship that's not limited by your knowledge, because we want to give you the knowledge that helps you get your dog out of the backyard. I'm going to show you a couple pictures here really quick. And here's one that is a police dog. And let me get rid of this too. A police dog I think this is actually a Palm Springs dog. I'm in Orange, training the Orange Police Department at that period of time. And that dog was part of our other police department that we trained. And I do believe that is a Palm Springs dog or an Indio dog. Anyway, that desire, that ability that I had early on to teach and train dogs to bite that a piece of equipment would never have happened if I didn't have a relationship with that dog. If I didn't have the handler understand that they needed to have a relationship with that dog, that they needed to clearly understand who this dog was, to get to this point that we could get this dog to leap in the air, grab that sleeve, and try to pull me down on the ground, was I had to communicate to him a lot of things through our relationship. One of them was that he's strong enough, that he's brave enough, that he's courageous enough to bite a man on the arm, grab that sleeve, and pull him down to the ground. Most dogs are not that way. Many dogs come to us with a sense that the humans in many ways, even your aggressive dog. Just understand that. This gets into a whole another thing that somebody will say, well, no, I don't. Well, okay, let's just listen. Most dogs are of the understanding that the humans are in charge and the dogs are not, right? They become aggressive and fearful because they challenge that once in a while, or they're fearful of us and that kind of stuff. All that stuff is way down the line. But let's just say, for a dog to believe that he can jump at a man, grab him with his teeth and pull him down the ground and fight with him and take him out, is only built through a relationship between a very skilled trainer, a handler who's listening, and all the other circumstances that need to create this relationship that tells the dog he's strong enough, big enough, bad enough, and confident enough to do that thing. If you've ever been around police dogs long enough, you know that to be true. That if you have a dog that is not confident, if you have a dog that is fearful, you get a completely different thing, right? A dog biting out of fear is way different than a dog that bites with confidence. Two different, entirely different things. Okay. And so we want you to understand that I know this for a fact, that this relationship that Aldo brought up today, and stress and all these other things that we talked about today, are clearly and closely related. And up until today, there's things about it that I only knew how to do, but didn't know how to explain, because they were feelings that I had, and they were just inner energy that, because of that energy, I was able to do A, B, C, and D just based on a feeling, right? But now we're putting words to it, and we want to make sure that you understand that these things are possible. This one here, which I'm going to show you, this picture here, here we go, is lack of communication between me and the human being. Do you see how the dog's biting my leg there? I have a sleeve, right? This is a civilian dog. Karos, I think the name was the dog. Mile is the handler. And we still see each other here online every so often. But you see the dog biting my leg? That is not the dog's fault. Many people would say, bad dog biting the leg when you should be biting the sleeve. Some trainers get pissed off at the dog, but that is not the dog's fault. This is a breakdown in communication between me and the handler. Either he didn't know what to do from the onset, and that's how this ended up. Maybe I didn't relate to the distance correctly to Mile, that he was supposed to be in one spot, and I thinking that he was going to be in that spot and was not, and that's how I got bit. So this is a breakdown in communication between me and the human being, not a breakdown in communication between me and the dog. And these are other examples of, or this is an example of how you can have a breakdown of communication, but it's not the dog's fault. Sometimes we're trying to communicate something that we believe the dog understands when in fact he doesn't. A beautiful thing that we talked about today is in detection dogs, and this is closely related to what I'm talking about right there, is that we were talking about when detection dogs are being trained to a specific odor that we want them to respond to, that if we are not sure that at the time in the beginning where we're teaching the dog that we want him to find this whiteboard pen as opposed to this microphone, and when we put them in the spot together and the dog comes over and sniffs, do we know for sure when he sniffs if he's smelling the odor coming from the microphone and focusing on that, or is he focused on the smell of the whiteboard? Sometimes we don't know. How do we make sure of that? Well, we have to change environments, right? And this is the only consistent thing in each one of the environments. And sometimes the dog will narrow it down to this thing. Sometimes we reduce the amounts of things that he can smell and make sure that this is probably, if not the most present thing that the dog can sniff as we're teaching the dog what we want to sniff. But there is where we have to understand that so many detection dog trainers, I am in court constantly on detection dog cases. And so often what it's missing in the dog's life that I'm investigating to make sure the dog is trained well is a trainer and a handler understands that they're training the dog not to do the right thing, that they've somehow missed the mark, that this dog doesn't truly understand what his job is. And I've heard some crazy things that trainers have said on the stand that it is impossible to train a dog to act like he's searching. No, it is. You can teach a dog that acts like he's searching. He can fool you into believing that he's actually sniffing. You can train a dog to place his nose on something over and over again. Can you not, dog trainers out there? When you want a dog to target something with his nose, you teach him to put his nose on something, click. When he does that, click, give him the food. Click, give him the food. Click, 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 give him the food. The dog has learned to put his nose on stuff. So if you can teach a dog to learn to put his nose on something, you can teach a dog to look like he's sniffing based on bad training. And I see it all the time. Aldo brought up another thing, that when you get done teaching the dog the basics of detection dog work, what you want it to be is a single behavior of recognizing the odor and sitting, that those two things just come together. The dog no longer has to think about it, but the dog smells the olfactory odor. The olfactory system picks up the odor and identifies that odor as the trained odor, and the butt automatically sits to the ground. That it's just one movement. There's no more thinking that goes into place, right? That it just happens. I see so many dogs where that is not the issue, where there's this process and there's all these excuses that the handlers get and the trainers get. This is the problem that we have in understanding the dog completely. And we have many, many trainers. And again, I'm not talking to you, because you who is a trainer that's listening, you are really, really good. I'm talking about a lot of other professional dog trainers that I know who are in the industry, that have big names, that fall short of understanding some of these little idiosyncrasies that make what they do even better. Right? So understanding all these facts is super, super important. And that is clear. So lack of communication, lack of understanding causes all kinds of problems. And there it was in that picture. You saw lack of communication. This dog that I'm going to show you right here is a dog by the name of, there we go. Bruno. Bruno just passed away less than a year ago, I think. I don't think it's been a year yet. But here we are driving through the state of Utah, and took a little break and put him up on that hill and took a picture. And the important thing I want to tell you about Bruno is that we had that relationship that we knew just based through our energy and just understanding. I really rarely had to speak to this dog, and he would do what I was thinking. And that is possible. I am not making anything up. I'm not telling you any, fishing stories. This is the truth. And if you've ever been working this closely with a dog, like I worked with Bruno and giving seminars with this dog, he would perform better when it was a larger crowd. We performed for up to, I think it was the highest was 800 people in a conference room in Caesar's Palace. And he performed and found 4 hides in the audience while I stood on stage and sent them into the crowd. I have 800 witnesses that will tell you that that's true. And I did it on more than one occasion. I did it in Aspen, Colorado. I did it in Las Vegas. I've done it in Texas with him. I've done to, I think, South Carolina or North Carolina, one of the two, and Oregon, and a number of other places that we have been. In Vegas, we probably did it 10 different times. But I'm here to tell you that I know for sure that you can have a relationship with a dog where it's almost one that becomes one of very little verbal and outward communication. That the energy is transmitted between the two of you back and forth, can be used in a very positive way. Anybody that's watching and has any idea of, or any desire to comment, please comment. You can tell me that I'm full of caca or whatever, but I'm telling you that if you don't have that kind of relationship with your dog currently, you can. And you really, really, truly can. And if you spend time with this dog, it'll be a relationship that you've never had on the planet. And I've had that only a couple times with my police dog in Anaheim Police Department and Bruno. I think those are really two. I had another dog by the name of Arwen. Arwen was a mold detection dog. And we two also had a very strong connection. The dog that kind of was in our family, but the ex-wife took her, Hazel, her and I had a really good relationship. But I can tell you that Bruno and my police dog at Anaheim had this relationship that because we worked so well together, and the way that we understood one another was above and beyond what you can imagine. And again, you can have that with your dog if you so desire, and you want to understand the little things, right? Just the little things about you and your dog, and the life you want with your dog is only limited by your willingness to have it. If you want to learn, if you want to be, to be in that place with your dog, that none of this other stuff happens where you're, frustrated about going on a walk, or you're deciding whether you should take him or not because you're going to be embarrassed by him. If you're dealing with any of that, then you need our help. You need to talk to us, and so that we can help you. If it still feels uneasy, and many of you in the basic class can still feel uneasy, that's okay. We're going to get you to a place where you look forward to taking your dog for a walk, that you look forward to taking your dog in the car unless he gets car sick. But taking your dog in the car and going on those hikes or going to those places that you would normally go without him because you're afraid of how he will act and it will embarrass you. Right. So we have a long history of group training with dogs. And it is, this is a field called, or not a field, it's a park called Greenbrier Park in Brea. And we've been at Tri-City Park. We were there for about 8 years. At Greenbrier Park, we were probably there for about 5 or 6 years. And now we've been at Falco Field there at FlexFit for many, many years. And it was even called another company before that. Chemicon was the name of the company before FlexFit bought the business. So we have been doing this for a very long time. So I want you to feel strong that if you are part of our family, you're in the right place. If you're not, you need to be. If you want to be a dog trainer and you want to be even better than you currently are, and you could be great right now and we can make you greater, you definitely want to consider being in the founders part of this HDT system that we're creating and putting together. It is a combination of two systems that we've been doing for several years, and we're mixing them up just a little bit to create even a better system. And so you're going to want to be a part of that. You're going to want to be a part of that system, especially as a founding member, because you get all kinds of perks. You're going to get all kinds of stuff. I'm already planning our first live event where trainers are going to be able to come. Every one of our founding members will be able to come for free. But there will be a cost to it for those of people that are not a founding member, and it'll be fairly expensive. And so I think that you would definitely want to come and be part of the founding portion of our training group because it's that important. And you're going to have so many bonuses and extra things that are going to be given to you because you're a founder. You're going to get to hear things and see things before we make them public. We will have a mastermind training group that we're putting together. So again, you're going to want to definitely be a part of that. I think I'm tempted to put a link in here in the comment section. This is going to allow you to see the webinar. And I'm just going to do this just one time because, again, the deadline is Friday for anybody that wants to be a founding member. Hold on. I have to bring up Vimeo really quick. So I'm going to share this link so that those of you that somehow missed the fact that I was trying to have a webinar and it kept failing. And if it would have gone, I wouldn't be doing this. But because there were so many issues and the possibility of so many people being left out of the opportunity to being a part of the founding group of the HDT system. There we go. All right. I'm just going to share it here in the comment section. Hey, Carmen. Glad to see you. All right. Uh-oh. Don't tell me I can't put a comment in here now. I don't know what this happens with Be Live every so often. There we go. All right. So here is the link. I'm not even going to put anything about it. If you know what I'm talking about right now, click on that link. You're going to know what it is. You're going to click on it. You're going to watch the webinar. Make sure and get a glass of wine, cup of coffee. It's about an hour and a half long. I meant for it only be a half hour. That's how much we have to say. There's going to be so much information. It's going to be crazy, and you're going to really enjoy it. But again, if you want to begin to start changing lives, then you want to be one of the trainers and the founding members. If you want your dog to be different, if you want to have a different relationship between your dog, then you definitely want to be one of our clients, because we're going to be using the system that we're going to teach others to teach all of you about your dog, about what it is you need to be with, to know about your dog so that you can be with your dog on walks and on vacation and take them to friends' houses as long as they love dogs. And you're going to want to leave those friends. How many people have come over with their dog and the dog is a pain in the ass, and you say, I can't wait until they leave with that stupid dog? You're going to be able to go to people's homes and they'll never say that about you. They'll say, oh my God, where can I get one of those? Where did you get the training? What? How does your dog do that? How was your dog able to sit there with us while we had a conversation for such a long period of time and not jump on the couch, not jump on me, not sniff my crotch, not chase my children down the hallway? How? Right? Especially if they saw your dog when you first got them, right? Quite often we rescue dogs that have all these issues that we would never take anywhere in a million years. But yet, in a few short weeks, 6-8 weeks or so, you can now take this dog to places that nobody would ever believe that dog could go to. You want that kind of relationship, then you definitely want to be one of our clients and one of our students. If you want to do that and teach people about their dog so that they can do that. If you want to have that feeling, I have not had much better feelings for what I do for a living than when somebody comes to me. I've told this story quite often. I remember this fireman that came to Tri-City Park with his dog. And it was in the middle of class. It wasn't expected. He just showed up. He heard where we were. Somebody told him about us or something like that. He was a fireman, so I think he obviously through law enforcement, somebody told him to be there. And when he came, he said, "Are you Andy?" And I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "I'm supposed to be on the way to the animal shelter right now to take the dog that I have here to the shelter to be euthanized because my wife said the dog has got to go." He goes, "The thing is, I love this dog, and we have a little bit of a connection. He is a nasty dog. He does bite. He is aggressive, but I don't feel that I've done enough to make sure that this is the solution for this dog. That I heard about you. I watched your videos on YouTube, whatever it was that was going on at the time. And I thought, maybe this guy can help me out." Comes to class. We sign him up. I think maybe we'd already been in like the second class. So we just started him right into our class. About 3 or 4 weeks later, his wife came. His wife came to class with the dog. The next thing you know, they're graduating with their certificate, and the dog got to stay home, and the wife loved the dog, and the dog stayed in the family. The dog was moments with the shelter or the veterinarian where he was going to have the dog euthanized was minutes away. The dog was minutes away from being euthanized, and because of a system that works, and because of the human being that this dog was lucky enough to be with. That is really important to also understand, that it's not us necessarily. We have the information, we have the knowledge, we have the experience, but without a human being in that dog's life that will take the time and learn and actually want to make a difference in that dog's life, without that, we have nothing, right? And so back to the DHT system, our system is also for human beings. Just like our tagline says, human training for your dog. The important thing about our training is that we communicate with human beings and we change their way of thinking. We actually give them tools that may not only work just for the dog, it may work for their marriage, it may work for their relationship with their children, it may work with employees or employer that they're working for, because we teach you a system that creates better relationships. That's what's so important about what it is we do. And so when you have a human being, fortunately for this dog, that wanted and desired a relationship with their dog, they were much quicker to act and much quicker to take the things that we told them to do and actually do them, to take action, right? To implement the things that we told them to do. He was an implementer. He decided, I'm going to save this dog's life. I think this team of people at Falco Canine Academy have what it is that I need to know. And we did, and he took it and he created a life for his dog that he was not going to have. And there's a chance that dog is probably still alive today, living in that same family. And I think they were expecting children too. So it was really important for them to get a control over this dog. And so the dog could live with them and their children. And so that was really important. So why did I go on that? There was a reason why I went there. I think either way, it was important that I went there. I just got distracted because I see a couple really cool friends that are on. April's on and some other people. And so I'm just so happy that you guys have all joined me, and Carmen, my sister from another mister, Amy Felt, and all the rest of you that are on. I really appreciate you taking the time to watch. All of you that are watching the replay, make sure and share and like. That would be really awesome. And I haven't asked for this for a while, but if you can see, we have one star thing on our Facebook page. It is bound to happen, but obviously that's the first thing that everybody sees. We have been training dogs for 30 years, and we have maybe 3 bad comments that I know of in that time. One of them right now just seems to be lingering up there for a really long time. We feel confident that what we do is good. Do we make mistakes? Do we make errors? We make errors in sometimes selecting our clients. Yes, we do that too. But I think 99.9% of our clients are fantastic and I love them. But every so often somebody just feels that they needed something different, or if I wasn't there, then somehow that was a bad thing. All of our trainers are trained very well and very skilled, and we are here to help you. If you're not getting the service or you're not getting the attention you think that you need, then you tell us, right? Don't wait until 3 months after the fact and then tell us that we didn't do a good job 3 months ago, right? It would have been helpful if on that day that you felt let down or that we didn't give you enough attention, if you would have told us that day and said, hey, you know what? I was here for an hour and you only spoke to me 10 times. I wanted to be spoken to 11 times. That would have been a great thing. All right. So those of you that are on the Facebook page, if you could, if you have not yet, if you can give us a 5-star rating, I'm just going to go for the whole thing. If you can give us a 5-star rating and tell us why, that would be awesome. Really appreciate that. I hope some of the information that we're giving to you, if not all the information we're giving to you, is helpful and does something for you in your relationship with your dog. All right. So that's it. I just want to come on and talk about, God, I just had a great morning with Aldo today talking, listening. Again, I like to say talking, but I don't talk much when he talks because he's on fire, spit's flying out of his mouth, and he's pacing, and he's throwing keys at me and telling me to catch him and talking about reaction and thought process and all this kind of stuff. And you guys are going to love working with Aldo. You're going to love hearing the training that he has for you as a founding member of our system, and you're going to have a good time. Okay, look for another opportunity. Again, we're going to keep the doors open for founding members until Friday at midnight. All right, it's all going to, no more founding members are going to be created after Friday at midnight. So I would hurry and make a decision as to whether you want to be a founding member or not. Future members of the HDT system are not going to get, they're just going to get the one training. I think in the founding members, you get a whole bunch of stuff, right? You get the mastermind, you get another program that's for business owners, you get another discount, you get discounts for the live seminars that we're giving and conferences that we'll be putting together in the near future. So you get all those things where the members after Friday at midnight get none of that. You're only going to get into each one of those things. And on occasion, we may have some specials, but it will never ever be this price because right now it's half price, and you will never get all the things that you get by being a founding member. All right. So that is it. All right. No more questions. We got awesome from Carmen. I want to leave on that note that it was awesome. Whatever I was saying at that time, I'm glad it was awesome. And all of you that have joined us, thank you for joining. Click on that link if you wanted to learn more and be part of that webinar. That's a recorded version of the webinar. And in the description of that video, you will see the other link to be able to get in as a founding member. All right, that is it. I will talk to you later. Take care. Bye.